Hello everyone, welcome back to Lockdown series. Today we have with us Laurie Butler. He's a Pro Vice Chancellor and Dean of Faculty Science and Engineering. Hi Laurie, thanks for joining us today.
That's a pleasure. Hi Anka.
Thank you so much for coming and discussing on such a crucial topic, mental health. And nowadays, the students are coping up with many issues, the personal thing, the academics, the COVID and the lockdown now. So would you like to give any tips or advices for students on their better mental health?
Thank you. Yeah, I certainly would do. I've been reflecting on this. This obviously has been a really, really tough year for everyone, and of course for our students at ARU. One of the things about the lockdown is that the lockdown has certainly increased the risk of loneliness, and loneliness, of course, in turn can increase the risk of things like anxiety, depression, and stress. Loneliness affects most people at some point in their lives, but of course is often exacerbated during a lockdown. I think you're about 3 times more likely during the current lockdown to be experiencing and feeling loneliness than at other times. And although most of us do feel loneliness at some parts of our lives, it is an insidious thing, because what it can make you do is really pull back from friendships, from relationships, to increasingly isolate yourself. So I've got just a few tips around loneliness. So firstly is to schedule time in your day where you effectively force yourself to get out and talk to people, either in your social bubble, or even within the rules of lockdown, you can go outside and still talk to one other person outside of your immediate group of flatmates or housemates. Another opportunity is to take part in hobbies. So, things like social media and playing computer games, they're all well and good, but they are quite solitary pursuits. So getting involved with one of the 150 or so student societies and clubs is a great way of making friends. Volunteering is another really great way of keeping in contact with people, and it also frankly makes you feel good as well, because you're contributing to the community. Another way in which you can combat loneliness is through getting outside and engaging with our green spaces. So, walking in some of our parks around our campuses. It's a fantastic way of unwinding. It's also a really good way of just bumping into people and saying hello, even if it's in passing. It makes you feel so much better by doing that. And then finally, I'd say that, if you really are struggling with the effects of loneliness, and that's perfectly understandable at the current time, there's always someone to talk to at ARU. There are so many people that are here and willing to help. You can go online onto our wellbeing web pages, and you can find a whole bunch of contacts there for people that you can pick up the phone to and talk to straight away. So there's always someone here that is there to listen to you.
Thank you so much. I completely agree. The loneliness, and it's 3 times likely to increase now, especially during lockdown, and the resources that the university is providing, it's completely sufficient to support students during these times. So my next question to you is, you being in a Pro Vice Chancellor and the Dean of Faculty, so how you manage your schedule, keeping lockdown in mind, how you cope up with your mental health?
So that's a really good question. Thank you, Anka. I think for me, I do 3 things. So one, you might not be able to tell, I go running. So I run 2 or 3 times a week, not very quickly, but I find that's a really good way of unwinding. I find I can really just concentrate on the moment when I go running, and that's really good for me. I'm also probably at my happiest when I'm walking in woods, in forests. I love walking through, forested areas, and again, it really helps me to unwind and to relax. And then the third thing I do is I always set aside a couple of hours on a Friday evening where I call it movie night, and I just watch a film and I completely switch off, and I find that really helps me to reset and just to forget about any things that might be nagging away at me over the course of the week.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. So you just fix one slot as a movie night and you do not touch anything, just watch movie. I think that's so you have any hobby, you prefer any hobbies that cope up with your mental health?
I don't have any hobbies at the moment, apart from walking and running, they're my two hobbies. I do like to read. I mean, that's my, I guess that would be a hobby for me as well. So I tend to try and read things that aren't associated with work. So, you know, I spend all my working life sort of, you know, talking and reading. So I try to switch off from that. So I read novels, particularly like novelists like Charles Dickens. So tend to read a lot of sort of classic works. That's how I would unwind as well.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very interesting, your hobbies and how you manage with your mental health. So my last question is to you is how you're planning Christmas this year?
How am I planning Christmas this year? It's going to be very different this year. I'm very aware of how different it will be this year. I think probably it will just be quietly spent at home here. Probably not a lot of travelling. Hopefully, you know, a bit of turkey and a mince pie or two. But really, I think just looking forward, I think more than anything else to 2021, hopefully getting back to some degree of perhaps a more normal way of life, just really sort of looking forward.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for your advice. It was really interesting to see the tips and advices you gave for the students, and I find this is very useful, and hopefully the students will use the resources available in the university too. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll be back again with another episode of Lockdown Series. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.